Hello everybody. In the second part of this lecture for this week, I wanted to go over image source, how to bring in an image with some attributes, and also talk about special characters and then some links. And these are really very important for any web page or website that you create, because those are basically the basics of the web and makes it a lot more attractive once you can actually bring in images and manipulate those images and create links so that you can navigate from one page to the other. So the first thing I wanted to go over is the basic structure of where I'm saving the file, because it's very important that you get a good feel of where your files are, and you want to make sure that any of the images or the pictures that you want to bring in resides at the same folder that you have all your HTML pages. Now you can always come in and create more of subfolders. So let me just bring this picture in, and this is just showing you that right now if my path is like this, where let's say I create a folder called CTS 1851 which sits on my C drive, which is my basic drive. So of course then in a picture it kind of looks like in your C drive you have a folder and your folder name is called CTS 1851, and inside that you have this HTML page which I have saved my page as more tag elements module 2.html. So that's my basic folder. Now if I create any image, then I need to make sure that my image files goes over here. If I add more images, everything is within the same folder called CTS 1851. Now, can I not create a subfolder inside this? Absolutely I can. And actually, when it comes to when you become more experienced and you start creating websites where you will have a lot more images that you want to bring in, you probably want to create a subfolder called images and put all your images in there and then keep all your HTML files separate. But for right now, let's keep it simple and make sure that wherever you had created or you had put your HTML file in that folder is where you also need to bring in your images. So for right now, what I'm going to do is this is my image source tag, and what I really want to do is show you that I want to write a math formula, okay? And my math formula is like this. So let me see if I can write it. So I want to write a big F and subscript X equals, and let's say I have a bigger parenthesis, and then I have a small a 4, and then let's say I have again a subscript called 4x minus 2, and then close my bigger parenthesis and have a subscript called a superscript called 2x. So now I should be able to write this formula using all the tags that we have learned so far in our lecture. So let's go back and write this. Now also what I would like to do is I want to save this as an image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say file, and this is by the way, I'm using Paint. Again, this is not the best drawing, but so file, save as, and let me go back one more time, file, and when I say save as, look at all these options that I have. So these are all my formats, as I can save it as a PNG or a JPEG or a BMP, GIF, and these are things that we will talk about later on. It really depends upon the size and also the compression of the image. Generally, we I like using JPEGs or PNGs, so I'm going to use it as a JPEG. Okay, so I'm going to save as, and I'm going to say JPEG picture, so immediately it puts my JPEG file format, and then it asks me to put in a file name, so I'm going to say math formula. Okay, now I want to make sure that I save this in the right document, and again, in my case, I was using documents, and I think I created a folder called CTS 1851. Okay, and now I have math formula used as a JPG, so I'm going to save this file. Okay, so now again, when I bring in my image source, and again this part I had kind of commented it out, so I would start off with an image source tag. This is my number 10, and if I take this part out, okay, now as you can see over here, we put a break, and let's say I want to, instead of a div tag, I say images. Okay, and then number 10, image source, and then I can, now image, as you can see, the standard tag is img, so if I want to write the standard tag img, and I close my image tag like this. However, I can write attributes, and one of them is src, which is source, and this is where I need to bring in my image. Now the double quotation that I have may or may not be there. It will work both ways. If you want to go without a double quotation, that's going to be fine. If you want to go with a double quotation, it's fine too. And again, I have then added more tags like alt, and then the border and height, the width and the height. So I've added all these things within my image tag, and these individual ones are called the attributes, which means within my image tag I can add attributes, so I can add attributes to my image. So let me take this part out, and I want to make sure that I bring in the image correctly, and remember it has to be within that same file. So I remember I called it math formula.jpg. Again, everything has to be named just right. If you had named your file with a big M, it has to be big M over here. If you had misspelled anything over here, if you do not bring in the right format, the file format, then it is not going to work. Okay, and also it has a border of 10 and a height and width. So basically I'm trying to create a border around. So let me save this and then bring my page. Now as you can see, I brought in an image right here. Okay, now let me break these things out a little bit. As you can see, you should not be seeing this break tag, so there's something that is not quite right. So let me go back and let me end my span, and what I'm going to do is let me put a div tag. Remember, div is my block level element, so that is going to break it out. So now I have a div tag and end of a div tag, and then I have images, which is going to break it out, and then I do have a border. So as you can see over here, I do have a border. The border thickness is given by the value of 10, and then you have height and width. So the height and the width gives you the image size, and I can play with this thing. So I go back and do maybe a 1, and the height and the width, instead of having 300, I'll say 100 by 100. These are given by the pixel. So now if I save the file, And if I bring my rendered file, now see how this big it was, and also I did not have a break over here. So with the div tag, I should now be able to move in, or go down one, have a line break. So this is how this one works. Now somehow with the border going down, this is not very clear, because again, if you look at the quality of that picture, it wasn't very good. So the border has gone down, but also by reducing the pixels, it is not showing, or it's not very clear. So let me go back and increase it just by a little bit, maybe say 200 by let me keep the height as 200 and the width be 100. Let's see what it does to this image. Maybe it's going to make it a little more clear. I saved it. Now it kind of stretched it. So let me go with a 200 by 200. And again, you can play with it, just to see how it is all working. And that might give me a little better of an image. However, so this is my image that I want to bring in. Now, this one is an image that I created. However, you can bring in, you can download a picture, and then you can include that picture as long as it is within that HTML, as long as it is within the same folder. You can always bring it in by adding an image tag to this. Okay, so this is the picture that I brought in, and I want to write this out utilizing the HTML tags, the inline tags that we had dealt with previously. So my answer for this is going to be I'm going to use the tag called big, and remember that F was kind of big. Let me bring the picture over here. The image was kind of big, so I'm going to say big, and then F, and then I'm going to close my big tags, big and big. Since they're closed tags, I need to close them, equals, and then I have a big parenthesis, so I'm going to do the same thing, like big and big, and then put a parenthesis, adjust the opening of it, and then I have the I have to close my big tag. Every open one has to close, and then I bring in 4, and then a sub tag, sub x minus 2, and my sub tag, and then close my parenthesis again with 2 big and I got to close my big, and then I write super 2x and end my super tag. So I wanted to bring in this rendered, I wanted to bring in, so this is my big F, which is given by these two, and then my F, and of course I have to end my big tag, and then I forgot to have that sub x, so maybe I do sub x and end my sub. Okay, so that should now write this x, and then I have an equal sign. It's an equal sign, and then I have my 2 bigs, which makes this big parenthesis, and then I have 4. Okay, I did not close. I have to close the big parenthesis, and then I bring in my 4, and then I have a sub which is x minus 2, and then I have to close my big parenthesis, and then I have to write my super. So now let's save this and see if my answer is okay. Okay, so this is my answer. So in order for me to write this math formula using HTML code, I can do this. And of course, the reason I have a space, the reason I have this big parenthesis is because of these two bigs that I have. So my answer is fx equals this. So now what I actually had shown is done with an HTML tag. Next up, let's talk a little bit about some special characters. Now these are characters that you can write using HTML code, and generally I don't want you to remember everything, but you can bring in some code examples from these sites that I have listed over here. So let me bring in this site first. So this is coming from W3 Schools, and basically if you click on entities or special characters, it shows you that the browser would render these special characters, okay, if you use these codes. And you could actually write the code both ways. You can write it as an entity name or as an entity number. So for example, something that you use a lot is a copyright symbol. Okay, so to render a copyright symbol on your page, you can use an ampersand copy semicolon, or you can copy this. So let's first of all do this. So I'm going to copy this one and come back to my code, okay, and paste it. Or I could go back and copy my other one. Well, let me first of all save it. So now I have a copyright right over here. So again, let me put a break tag over here first. Okay. So here is my copyright symbol. Now similarly, you can go back and find enough of those tags in W3 Schools. This is where the address is, and get all this. So you can, this one I use the entity name. I could have also used the entity number, okay, and that would give you the sign. So instead of using the entity number in the same copyright, let's do a registered trademark, and I'm going to use the entity number over here. So if I now go back to my code, and do this, okay, save it, refresh it, here is my registered code. Now I am just showing you a few examples which are very common, copyright and registered. However, there are really tons of special characters and codes that you can use. Let me bring you back the page, which is my HTML entities. As you can see, if I go to the W3 Schools, I clicked on entities. So here is how I bring in this entity. You can go to HTML symbols, and again it will have all these symbols. Now one thing I'll warn you is sometimes you might use a symbol or a mathematical symbol and the browser may not support it, or you would not see the right output. So you want to try things out before you submit it as a final page. So here is more examples. So these are your character sets, and here's your symbols. So if you want to bring in any of these symbols, any of the Greek letters, you can bring these things in with either an entity number or an entity name. So it's a copyright sign, registered sign, trademark sign, and you can bring in more of these things. This is a black club suite that you have. You have a spades, and again, you can try things and see how this works. And again, either one should work. So if I do a Control C over here and bring it in just to see how that works, and let's see if this is going to be showing here. And yes, it does. So these are my special characters. Now the last thing that I want to bring up is links. And right now, even though you can't see this as a link, the way to bring in a link is, and I'm going to say links, is that you do an a tag, href equals, and again, double quotation may or may not be used. So here is my href, and then the closing of my a tag. So if I want to take this right here, this is basically the URL or the link that I'm trying to go to. So this is called an absolute link, where you basically see an HTTP or a www, which is pointing to a particular page, and you can say, you can give it a text. So this is going to be chart to use special characters or entities. Okay, so now, okay, let me save this and bring back my rendered page. Let me make this page a little bigger. Okay, so see, before these are links, but it was not showing through the browser as links. Okay, because this was kind of hard-coded without using any href or any link tag. But now I have made a link. So now once I save it, look what happens. Now I said links, and now this becomes a link. So basically this is pointing to this web address right here. However, the text that I put in between my a tags now becomes the link, or the line, or the text that would link it. So now if I click over here, it should now open up this link right here. So now I have an active link. So this is how you can create links. And of course, if I want to come back and make this one a different line, then I can always do that by putting a break right here. So now if I go back to my tag, see, now I have links, and this is my link. And again, if it is active, you should be able to click on it, and it should be able to take you to that link that you're trying to direct to. Now, this is an absolute link. You could easily link it to another page. Okay, so let me do that. And again, I'm going to say a href equals, and again, this is where I need to put in the name of the page that I'm trying to link to. So my previous web page using basic tags, and then I end my thing. Now I need to go back and find out in my folder what is it that I had called it. So I think I called it basic module1 code.html. okay, because this is my other tab. Remember, this is what I had used before. So I'm going to say basic, BASIC, module1 code.html. Now, as you can see over here, you do not have an HTTP here, and this kind of link is called a relative link, which means this particular document is there relative to this document, which is saved in the HTML, which is saved as an HTML file within my 1851 folder. So if my structure is right, and let me just double check, then I should be linking it to this other page. All right, so again, let me give it a line break here. So now this is my previous page, and here you go. So this is what I had created earlier. So now I am linking two pages, but this is a relative link which does not have the HTTP. This is just the document that is there in the file. So again, remember, if you, let me bring this notepad over here. So remember, in this folder, okay, I had three things. I had my basic module1.html, and then I had I called my other one more tag elements, more tag elements module2.html, and of course you can move these tags. I'm just to align these things a little better, but I mean you get the idea. So now, and also this one has this picture called math formula.jpg, and this file, this file name, or this folder was called CTS 1851, and initially the structure I had created, it was residing on C colon CTS 1851. So this is how the structure would look in the picture. So this is my folder called CTS 1851, and I have three files: my basic module1 HTML, my more tag elements module2 HTML, and the JPEG. So all these files are there, and then I created a link from this page, which is my more tag elements, to my basic module1 HTML. And the only reason it works is because this file is relative. It's a relative link, and it is within the same folder called CTS 1851. Again, the reason the JPEG was showing up properly was because, again, it is inside the same folder. Now, if this JPEG was residing somewhere outside, then you have to go back and change or alter this path right here to make sure it is pointing to the right file. So you just have to be very, very careful when you are uploading your work, where you have multiple pages and you have pictures, that you upload you zip the entire structure and upload it into the Alta Vista website, and then over there you would make sure that if you had created a folder, that all those files and all those pictures are uploaded to your web server. Otherwise, when you render it through the web server, none of these things are going to show. So with that, I would end this lecture, which goes over some basic tags, and that should give you enough information to do or continue on and do your next assignment. Thank you.